I'm here, Heidi Villegas with Healing Harvest Homestead. I've been working on projects and I've been working in the garden and we've been working on getting the herbal farm set up and so many different things. But I wanted to pop on here really fast and just talk with you about how and why I became an herbalist, and then how and why I became an aromatherapist, and a little bit about how that all happened. Because over the years, as many of you know, I'm a community herbalist. I've worked clinically with helping people use herbs for their health, and I'm also a certified aromatherapist, and I'm a homesteader. So all of those things. But I am so passionate about the herbalism because to me, it's a way to help others have health naturally, have wellness naturally, and get their bodies back into a balanced state, which all of us deserve. And so just let me go ahead and go back into my own life for a minute. I was not lucky enough to grow up in a home where using herbs or plants was the norm for our health. It just didn't happen. We've all kind of been brainwashed in these last 150 or so years that we need a pill for every single thing. And that's not the case. It's not the case. When I grew up, I had really bad allergies and my mother gave us pills. She didn't know. She didn't know that plants actually could solve your allergies better and actually heal what was going on with the inflammation in your body as well. They didn't know. I didn't know as a young mother myself years ago. I'm now a grandmother, and I look back on the things that I used to give my kids. One of my kids in high school he was a football player. All my boys were football players, but one in particular, he grew really, really fast one year, and he had terrible growing pains, and then he was an athlete on top of it, and the doctor said, just give him Advil, just give him Advil. And so we gave him Advil. And over a span of months, he came to me and he said, Mom, my stomach hurts. And so I took him to the doctor. He had an ulcer from taking Advil. I was number one, horrified, shocked, and really mad. I was mad because why would a doctor tell you that it's okay to take Advil over and over and, to the point where you get a stomach ulcer? It was horrible. So at that point, that was probably about the point that I started searching for natural methods, and I came across essential oils, and I loved how they smelled. They were amazing, and they did work to an extent back then, but I didn't know what I was doing with them. Fast forward another 10 years or so of my life, and now I was experiencing some health issues. When we live in a toxic environment, which I did, I was still living in Las Vegas, Nevada back then, which is where I lived for about 50 years of my life. When you're living with pollution, and especially in our homes, the cleaners that we use, the fragrances that we use, the candles that put out the different chemicals, and some people laugh at me because I'm so anti-chemical, and my daughter loves to point out to me that there's chemicals in everything, Mom. Everything is a chemical. She's got a biochemistry degree and I know this, but I think the difference is what I'm talking about is toxic chemicals. The things that are endocrine disruptors or hormone imbalancers or carcinogens. You guys, we get enough of those going on in our body, and our body gets overwhelmed and just can't respond anymore. And that's when we start experiencing these health issues like autoimmune diseases and heart issues. And, I could just go on and on. So I started learning about plants because I had to have another way for myself because I was getting sicker and sicker. And I did not want to be one of these people who had their pills all lined up in front of them for one condition, and then another side effect of that condition, and another side effect, and on and on and on. I just didn't want to be that way. And so I'm proud to say at this point, my husband and I, Mr. V, we have not had to take any over-the-counter medications or even prescription, except for I was on some high blood pressure medication for 3 months within that time that didn't work. So I got off of them, and now I deal with that naturally. But it's been almost 10 years for the two of us. So what a blessing. But anyway, health is one reason why you should really start looking into herbalism as a viable health practice in your home, not to substitute for medical care, but to complement it, to give yourself some more options. I've already talked a little bit about the toxins in our environment, no matter where we live. We might actually be, some of us live rurally in farm country, and because of the exposure to pesticides and the chemicals that are being put on different farms these days, we're all experiencing different toxins. It's our body's job to help get rid of those toxins in our bodies, and it's our job to support our bodies in that process. So we need to be definitely getting rid of as many of the toxins as we can, but also supporting our liver, supporting our kidneys, supporting our skin health and our ability to get the toxins out in those ways. Our lungs is another way we get rid of toxins in our bodies. So when you start using herbs as preventives, you are supporting those different organs in your bodies to the point where your body functions better. It's really wonderful. Um, and then let's just talk about self-reliance for a moment. You guys, we all just saw the supply chain debacle a few months ago. And it's still going on. I know in our area, the store shelves are still fairly bare. And you know what? That could happen again. It could happen at any time. So we believe in our home here that what we can do ourselves, we should do ourselves. And that actually extends to our health and our wellness as well. So when we get a cold or flu, which we really don't very often because a lot of the plants that we use on a daily basis help support our immune system so well. But when we get a cold or a flu, we know exactly what to do for that. Right here. These are just a few of the different remedies and tinctures and infused vinegars and things like that we use on a daily basis. And we know how to keep ourselves well. And we know how to use herbs. We know how to go out and grow our own herbs. We grow our own, or we can know what to forage here, and we can actually take care of a lot of different issues ourselves right here in our own home. First aid issues. If you cut yourself very deeply, knowing what you can use to stop the bleeding and to clot that blood fast, what a blessing that is, right? It's just amazing. So we don't go to the emergency room. Now, if we broke a leg or something like that, yes, we'd be headed to the emergency room. But the reality is that for most things, you don't need to. So just pure self-reliance, being prepared, having your natural home apothecary stocked up, knowing what to use, having the spices that you need in your kitchen, because spices often can double as herbal medicine if you know what to do with them. It's really mind-bogglingly incredible. I think back on the days that I've read about only where, everybody went to grandma to find out what to do for something, or mom could reach into her, homestead cupboard and, pull out an onion and honey syrup that is not only incredibly healing, but also takes care of a bad cough, among other things. So, or going outside and taking some mullein leaves off of what we think now is a weed in our yard, but in reality is one of the best herbs and plants you can ever use for your respiratory health. Amazing. So my goal is to get an herbalist in every single home. It's my mission to help people empower themselves with their health and their wellness, because in the end, your health is really the most important thing. Your ability to take care of yourself is really the most important thing.